All right, guys. So we have been through some stuff with this project, but I wanted to make this video to go over some of the lessons that I learned in this project, and hopefully you can follow that and learn from it as well. But let's first start off with, the wins. What this project looks like right now. It is complete, and I'm very happy with it. So let's keep, the energy good right now, and I want to just show you guys what it looks like and where we are with it. So the jump rings are on there, all the mounting points. I've got the one on each side here and one on the top, and that should secure it just fine. It's not too heavy with those three mounting points, and it does look really good. You have the air plant in there as well, so everything right now just feels like where it should be, and I'm so glad that it got done. And I'll cover some of the bad things that happened and point out some of the stuff as well, so you will know going into this project what you may or can expect. Any project, actually. So the colors look good. Everything it just feels right for me. The lighter shades and with the plants and everything, this is going to go on the wall, and I'm just so happy. I'm ready to hang this thing and just call it done. This is waxed and cleaned up, and that's where I'm at with this. You guys wanted to do this project, you can obviously make it your own in different shades of color, style, whatever it is, and that was the intention of this entire project. So the big lessons that I learned from this project absolutely was, trying to fix something when I think I could have just left it. And there was a nice comment. I'm gonna read this one off. This is from Susan B. And when I had cracked this glass and was still trying to decide on what to do with it, if I should fix it or if I should leave it alone, her comment was a very wise comment, and here goes. It says, "If the break doesn't weaken the piece and doesn't show, I would leave it. Call it the mistake you leave, so the gods won't be jealous of your perfection." That's a practice that exists in many art forms around the world. If it's easy to fix, it's one thing, but that looks complicated and virtually redoing it. Yeah, when I read that, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, man, this is complete and it looks fine. It's just, it's ready. It's a few more touches, going over some of the lines, and we would have been done. But then on the other hand, I knew that if I didn't fix it, I know that I could try to fix it, and also that it would be great for you guys to see. So that's what we did. We went with it and decided, okay, let's go ahead and fix it so you guys would see it too, because I never really crack glass pieces before. And, this is an opportunity to do so, to show you guys, and for myself to say, hey, I think I can do this too. All right, so we go down that route. And I knew that day when I started doing it, where I started scoring the glass on a nice piece of glass that I had to score to break it, it completely felt off. And I could tell you, like, as I was doing it, and you probably saw in the video, I couldn't feel like, I felt like I was doing something wrong. Like, it was just the opposite of what I should have done. But since I had said I was going to do it and I was going through with it, I just went for it. And, so that happened, right? We scored the glass, took off the pieces, and after that, it ended up removing fine. And so took off the main chunks of the glass. So here's the first thing. First thing, let's back up. If you're trying to get rid of the glass crack and you're trying to remove the pieces, what everybody has been saying was that, or suggested, was that to score all around the glass so they break easily and you can remove them in small chunks, and so they can be removed out of your piece, right? So that was the first tip. So scoring all the pieces so you can remove them easily. The second thing was, if you can leave the solder lines and whatever is around your pieces, the adjacent pieces, the pieces that are touching, holding things together, if they can be left alone, you should just leave it alone. In my case, when I started peeling off some of the stuff, the foil lifted off of the adjacent pieces, so I ended up peeling those off. The only thing that actually looked pretty good was the main solder line that was actually on the back surface, the main piece of glass. And I felt like I wanted to clear everything and start off completely with just a fresh new copper foil. And so I wanted to completely remove everything. So that's the route I took. And now that I think about it, I probably should have tried first to see if I could keep it and see how it would lay with the new piece of glass. Go ahead and cut a new piece, try to fit it in there and see if that old solder line would and the copper foil could still work and could be saved and not have to touch it. So I think that was probably my first mistake in trying to fix this. And so then I had a hard time of just trying to remove the foil. It took a long time. I had a good comment with, oh yeah, here it is. So Bobby Schneider says, I use part of a soda aluminum can and wedge it into the seam as it melts off. Solder doesn't stick to aluminum. Cardstock works too. So what they're saying right there is take a piece of aluminum and kind of wedge it under the foil so it starts removing it, and then since the foil doesn't touch and won't melt onto the aluminum, then you can use it to scrape things off, right? I used the razor blade and that worked fine, and so I think that's a great comment and could be very helpful. So in trying to remove the copper foil, you need something to kind of dig in there, try to get underneath between the glass and the copper foil to remove it as you're melting. And then as you're melting it, try to grab it, a good hold of it with your pliers and slowly try to remove it as the solder is melting. That's difficult to do, and you'll have to take your time on it. But of course, there's that chance of like sitting there trying to remove all this stuff, and now your glass might crack just from trying to fix things. So I was successful at doing that and got a new piece of glass cut up and put that back together, wrapped it with foil. The biggest thing that I think in this entire project that I didn't do from the beginning, which probably caused the crack and all, is that I didn't tin my pieces. So a lot of people would tin their pieces first, so just coating it lightly with solder and then assemble everything together. So if you do that step, you don't have to go in there, try to wedge your iron inside in between all the angles and everything and have that to fill that solder if it's already filled in. So I think big thing learned is to do that first on a project like this, especially a 3D project. Most of my 2D projects, I don't feel like I need to do that. So, feeling like a shortcut in the steps ruins everything in the future. So kind of think about it as you're going along and working on the project. The thing with doing a project here and not really, having things laid out exactly step by step, and I think it's because of for me, when I'm recording, I'm just kind of going with it and moving on kind of as quickly as possible so there's no stalls or delays in the projects, and I'm not giving myself enough time to think ahead. So I think that's a big thing on my part, is not, really having the steps 100% down. Like if I do this 3D project, I should be tinning everything first. So let's do that first. That wasn't in my mind. And so there are steps that I believe that I'm missing along the way. So in just trying to move along and get things, going, like move on to the next steps, and then finish, right? So slow down, think about your steps, think about what comes next, and kind of have lay it out and think about your game plan, how it's gonna all go down before you get the iron, turn it on, and start soldering. And once everything is is permanent, you'll have a harder time trying to remove and fix and all this stuff. So that's big lesson right there. Once everything was on, it felt like just redoing all the work again. And so I started soldering all the pieces up, getting all the lines nice and smooth. And that day of just like really not feeling it, fixing the glass, pulling it off, and just like from the start, it just was off. I felt off. This is what happened. We had a crack in the glass, and after fixing everything, this was the first crack right here. So you notice I said first because there's another one. So on that blue glass, there is a crack. You might not even see it because I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but it's right on the corner tip by my finger right here. So I hear this crack, or I didn't hear the crack, and I just saw it as I'm finishing up. And that took me out for a while. I definitely was not prepared for that, and also, trying to work on the jump rings, trying to add those on correctly to make sure they're strong, and just working with that like the entire time. Mentality, like everything was just off, and finished the project. And seriously, I have another crack, a second crack. This one's very small, much smaller. It's right on the corner on this purple one. Man, I hope you can see that. It's just like right there on this little small, right by the jump ring there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but maybe right there, right on corner tip. So after that, I was done. I cut the video short because I sat there working on the project, putting the jump rings on, and just being silent. I wasn't talking. I was just really concentrating on trying to get it right, try to finish the project, and having known that the piece cracked already, I was just like, you lose a little confidence in the work, and also in morale, in just from the start, like feeling good about it, this is going to be an amazing project. I think people are going to like it. They can go home and do this on their own, and it's probably going to be a good beginner's project. And it ended up just like cracking everywhere, and took me out. Honestly, I wasn't feeling it at all. So it was hard to just kind of finish up the project. But I let it sit there for a day or so. And, now I'm back. This morning I cleaned up the piece because it was pretty much done. No more soldering or anything. So that was nice. Just got to clean it up and clean it up and wax everything. And so that was all I had to do. And I got the air plants. They fit nicely. I've got, you can put whatever plants you want into this project, and I think it'll look really good. It makes me happy now, going from a terrible state of mind a day or so ago, and to now where it's all done. I can hang it and I can feel good about it, and knowing that there's cracks in there, it doesn't matter. I'm at a point where I shouldn't care, if it cracks. And to be honest, right now, thinking about it, agreeing with Susan B and some other people that said, leave it. Some others even said maybe you could put solder or like some wire that covers up the cracks, like go from line to line and just put some strips of wire just to kind of hide it and make it like an accent piece or something, right? To cover it up, but to give it something, kintsugi is another one from the Japanese where they take a cracked piece of ceramic, something that's broken, put it back together, and then actually add gold to it to accent it, to make it even stand out more. So you see that thing, but from a broken state to now something that is equally beautiful or even better, just because you added a golden line to it. So I think that's worth exploring and mentioning. I don't think you can do it with glass itself. I think it's a ceramic thing, but with glass, there's definitely ways for us to make it, make the piece stand out. And if it's like a wire that you can add onto it or something else to cover it up and make it look nice, but also stand out and say, hey, there was a broken crack right there. It's structurally fine. You don't have to touch it, and it's just a crack. So continue on and move on. And that's where I'm at with all of this right here. I feel next time if something else happens, my approach is going to be completely different, and I think I've learned a lot from it. And going into this trying to fix it, already it just felt wrong. So if you feel like it needs to be fixed, and absolutely, like that's a main glass piece that it's a terrible piece that needs to be fixed, I think you should go for it. In my case, on this piece right here, it was barely noticeable, especially with plants and everything in there. Definitely could have left it alone. Yeah, a lot of lessons in this project, but I hope you guys had at least a good time with it, at the beginning anyways, not necessarily the end, where things kind of went south and just took a wild turn. But this is the reality. It happens, and I did not expect it, and I should. Going into a project, I should expect that this can happen. And sometimes even you feel like, hey, these are regular cuts, right? Triangles, diamonds, and they're straight cuts. Nothing crazy about it. No curves that it's gonna crack. When you break things, and it still gives you a challenge. So this is the world that we signed up for. If you guys are into this and you're making stained glass, just know if you're a beginner, you're getting into this, one day you're gonna crack a piece of glass. It took me a couple of years to get something like this to happen, and that's another piece happened before. I'm trying to remember what exactly happened with it, but it was like an incense holder that I had made, and I was able to easily fix that. That was I think it was like a standalone piece. I could just remove it. Nothing was around it, and so it was connected on just one side. So that was an easy fix. So something like that, yeah, you can fix it easily, but on a much bigger panel, you have to kind of rethink it, and if it's worth getting into it. This project right here wasn't that. There's not that many pieces, right? There's not a lot of things that you can fix the piece, and it felt like you can go for it, but in the end, it just probably was a bad call. Anyways, yeah, that's all I got for now. Thank you very much, you guys, for giving me the comments and opening up my eyes a lot about how to, just to kind of leave it alone too. Like, those are great comments. And then the ones that said, hey, this is a good opportunity. Herb, others mentioned too, like, it'd be great opportunities for you guys to learn. And that's kind of what I went towards. And so we did that, it's all good. Everything is all good. The way that it went, this is how it landed. And I'm cool with that. I'm happy with it all. So I'm just happy that I was able to recover it, get this complete, and that you guys are here along for the ride. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll do it again next time. We'll do something else. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see. If there's some ideas or something that you want to maybe have me try, sure, that would, I'd love to do that. So let me know if you have some ideas about the next projects. If not, I'm going to start thinking about one, and I'll be back with another project very soon. So thanks, guys. I will see you in the next one. All right, take care.